What's up everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to talk about performance of the Dame 8 EXTPLY. Big shout out to SK Store from Poland, they sent me these to review. And also just a reminder, if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. It helps me out a lot and it would be highly appreciated. Now let's get back to what's really important here, the Dame 8 EXTPLY. I'm actually a little bit confused because it's been almost 2 years since the regular Dame 8 came out and we still haven't seen a Dame 9. And this is not the Dame 9, this is the Dame 8 EXTPLY or Extended Play or EXTPLY. I'm going to call it EXTPLY because that's the easiest to say for me in this video, the shortest also. And it's kind of a weird thing for Adidas to do that because Dame 9 is long overdue in my opinion. This is kind of the model in between, so to say. I'm really not sure what they thought when doing it. For performance, I actually really like them. The only thing that's different compared to Dame 8 actually is kind of this strap here, this midfoot strap. That doesn't really do all that much. The traction pattern stayed the same. The cushioning, I believe, stayed the same as well. And the materials are also pretty much the same. The look changed a little bit. Biggest difference, as I said, the midfoot strap. With that being said, retail is $130. At least they didn't change that up. So that's kind of nice because they gave us an upgraded version, so to speak, of the Dame 8s for the same price. So that's kind of nice. Let's see how they performed, starting with traction performance, which is probably the most controversial thing about this shoe. I didn't know that because I never tried the Dame 8s or the regular Dame 8s. And when I posted some shorter clips of this shoe on Instagram and on TikTok, I had a lot of people commenting and they asked if the traction was still as bad, or like, I remember one comment, he said, is the traction still that 2 out of 10 Dame 8 vibe? And I was really surprised because I didn't know that there had been that big of an issue with the traction on the Dame 8. I also have a teammate who plays with the regular version of the 8s and I've actually never seen him slip with those. But you also have to keep in mind that we usually play and practice on relatively clean courts. But now for the Dame 8 EXTPLY, how was the performance for me? The traction pattern stayed exactly the same. And we have a zonal herringbone pattern with a classic rubber outsole. The durability isn't the best, but also not the worst. In my opinion, the grooves are not really thick and not really deep as well, but they're not too easy to move. So you have to put some force into them to move them around. So I think you should be okay if you play with them outdoors. And for the price of $130, with them going on sale now everywhere, maybe a sign that the Dame 9 is coming, I can definitely recommend them as a cheap outdoor shoe with nice performance. For the traction performance for me, I had no issues whatsoever. As I said, we practice mostly on clean courts. I use them only on our main practice court, not on the other court we sometimes use. That's a little bit dustier, but I'll definitely do that and keep you posted. I'm really interested to know, did you have any issues with the traction performance on either the regular Dame 8s or the Dame 8 EXTPLY? Because the outsole is exactly the same, so it doesn't matter if you had just the regular version or this one. I'm really interested to know, did you have any issues? If so, was there a difference? Because I also saw some videos on them where other reviewers were saying there was difference in performance if it was a translucent or a solid rubber outsole. For me, we have, as you can see, the full solid rubber outsole. So I'm really interested. Let me know down in the comment section below if you had any problems or issues. As I said, for me, performance was very good. It wasn't top tier like some other Adidas shoes, like for example, the Harden 7s or the AE 1s that are really top tier on clean courts. I'd say like around 8.5 out of 10. Moving on to my favorite aspect of the shoe, which is the cushioning setup. We have a full-length Bounce Pro midsole setup, and it's really comfortable and really plush. Especially the heel, there's a crazy amount of compression. You can feel it just by walking around already. And in the forefoot, you also have some compression, and you're not too high off the ground, so it's not unstable or anything, but court feel is also not the best, which is kind of interesting because I thought like Damian Lillard for sure likes to feel the court a bit more because he's a very quick guard who does a lot of crossovers and quick moves, but it's not the best in this shoe. If you're wondering why the setup is a little bit different now, my microphone's battery ran out and I didn't notice it, so I recorded the full review already like this morning, and I didn't notice until after I was done. I tried to check the video and there was no sound right after when I started to talk about de-stepping comfort. That's why it's a little bit of a changed setup. Also, I might look a little bit different than this morning. I actually had a school project that we did with our club. We visited preschool and played basketball with the kids. It was actually kind of fun. And I got back home, got practice in the evening as well. So I thought I'll finish the review. Just a heads up as to why this setup is a little bit different. What I actually wanted to say when the video was cut short, or actually was muted, I want to talk about the step-in comfort. So the Bounce Pro cushioning is really, really comfy. As I said already, the compression in the heel is insane, and there's also a lot of compression in the forefoot, but not as much as in the heel. And even though we have this classic non-premium feeling Adidas insole, we have very nice step-in comfort. There's also a classic Adidas almost non-existing strobe board actually. It's just a really, really small cutout for minimal compression, but because the Bounce Pro is so soft, even through this rather cheap feeling insole and the small hole in the strobe board, the step-in comfort is really nice because the materials are also very soft. And as I mentioned, the Bounce Pro setup is very, very comfy. If I had to compare it with other Adidas shoes that are on the market right now, I would say probably the most similar is the Harden 7, with the exception that the Dame 8 EXTPLY is more comfortable or softer in the forefoot and higher off the ground. The heel is relatively similar, so Boost, and you can see it on this side, Boost cushioning and Bounce Pro in the heel feel very similar, in my opinion at least, but the forefoot is a little bit different. In my opinion, the AE1 is softer all around, so you have just as much compression in the heel and even more compression in the forefoot, but also a little bit better court feel. And with the Harden Volume 8s, I'll hopefully be allowed to post my review very soon. We have very similar feeling to the 7s, comfy heel and low to the ground forefoot. Another shoe I've tested recently from Adidas is the Dawn Issue 5, which is lower to the ground overall, but also not as comfy with the full length light strike cushioning. Now moving on to the support features of the Dame 8 EXTPLY, it stayed pretty much the same. The only thing they added is the forefoot or midfoot strap, but because the material of the strap is so soft, it doesn't really do much for support, and it's also not connected to any like lacing cables or like from Nike with no flywire cables. I saw on the KD4 it's connected, so that definitely makes a difference if you pull it really hard. But here, if you pull, you just pull on the material here, so you won't really get more support. It's maybe just a more supportive feeling because you have that extra material here up front. Apart from that, we have internal heel counter, probably TPU heel counter. Feels nice, gets the job done. The lacing system works very well. You really feel locked down. These extra eyelets here on the side actually do a good job of keeping the laces stable. That's very interesting. I never thought I need something like this, but it actually does a really good job. And something else this shoe offers is a TPU propulsion plate, which provides you with lateral support and also with torsional support. Also, you can see there's almost no forefoot flex, so it's very hard to bend them. Like from right around here, it doesn't bend anymore. If the forefoot here flexes, that's all right, but from here we have the propulsion plate. And as you know, I talked about it in my past reviews, I like it when there's not much forefoot flex because I feel like I can get a way better rebound out of the shoe and I feel more supported as well. Moving on to the last part of performance aspects, which is the materials. It's also pretty much the same as on the regular Dame 8s, with the only difference being the added strap and a little bit the look of the shoe overall. We have a synthetic upper, and also this strap is very soft, just like the rest of the upper I mentioned before already. It's very soft, so there was no pinching, no uncomfortable feeling whatsoever. The shoes are also pretty much good to go right out of the box. The fit is wide foot friendly in my opinion, so if you have wider feet, these are definitely an option like pretty much any Adidas hoop shoe on the market right now. The only thing I didn't like was that the breathability wasn't good at all, and usually I don't mind that as much as with the Harden 7s, for example. They had very bad breathability, but I didn't notice any discomfort or uncomfortable feeling while being inside the shoe. With the Dame 8 EXTPLY, however, I noticed a very interesting thing that I hadn't noticed since trying the TRC Blaze Cord, which was that right around this area here, so around the L, the outside of my left foot, heat started to build up underneath my foot and it felt like I was getting blisters. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was a really, really weird feeling. I didn't get blisters, luckily I checked right away because I don't need any blisters during the season. It was just kind of heat buildup underneath of my foot because the heat couldn't escape throughout the upper. So I'm also interested if you had any issues like that with the regular Dame 8s. Maybe the added material of the strap kind of pulls you down, or it pulls the heat, traps the heat inside of the shoe a bit more even, because the materials are also rather on the thicker side. But the plus point of thick materials and materials like this is that they are very comfortable and they need almost no break-in time. Last but not least, the weight of the Dame 8 EXTPLY. I don't know what it is with Adidas, but they can't seem to give us light basketball shoes. Every Adidas hoop shoe I've tested in the past months or years was really, really heavy. The Harden line is heavy, Anthony Edwards shoes are heavy, And also the Dawn issue 5 is kind of heavy, not as bad as the Hardens or the AE1, but also pretty damn heavy. And the Harden 8 fits right in, they're also really heavy. Keep in mind, it's a size 13.5 US, so they will be heavier than what other reviewers are saying. They come in at 564 grams or 19.9 ounces, so almost 20 ounces, which is pretty damn heavy for a basketball shoe if you compare with something light like the GT Cut 3 that also has crazy cushioning setup, just like the Dame 8 EXTPLY, but is still very, very light. So I definitely prefer lighter setups, but I also don't mind the heavier setups as much. On foot, they feel pretty comfortable and average weight, so to say. I also didn't mind the weight on the Hardens as much. But if you prefer lighter shoes, maybe get the shoe that Jalen Green is going to wear now, because they seem to be very lightweight. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a like, and see you next time for more performance reviews on my channel.